Thank you for this great opportunity. I bring greetings from the Institute of Liver and Biliary Sciences, which is a WHO collaborative center on liver diseases and viral hepatitis, and ILBS is deemed to be liver university. Going back to the basic diagram of 10 global core indicators, where in Asia we have infrastructure for B and C testing, but not all countries. Vaccination, the Taiwan model is being followed globally, so it has done very well. We are not very good in needle syringes distribution, and I'll show you some data. There is enough knowledge, in my mind, in the healthcare sector, but it should be improved. The treatment coverage is poor in many countries, and of course, cure and viral suppression is a dream. The incidence of new infections has not been decreased. Let's go to the broad burden concepts, 75% of B and 30% of C. And the number of deaths in Asia due to viral hepatitis far exceed of tuberculosis and also HIV and malaria. For hepatitis B, of course, Asia is the hub, and majority of patients in the world are in Asia. I'll just give you some broad outlines for the Hep C prevalence. These are updated data. And Egypt, we just heard a beautiful presentation. Other than that, India, you can see the range is from 0.9 to 1.9%, and mainland China is from 0.43 to 1. But the overall burden is about 50 to 60 million patients. So I want to bring this concept to everyone, the hotspot phenomena, where you have more than 3% seropositivity. And I have learned and worked on this, so the SPOT survey study and introduce safe injection practices. 2/3 of new cases could be due to unsafe practices. In India, the rough estimate of 1.9 billion injections could be unsafe in last 5 years. And therefore, we may be adding 250,000 cases per year, at least in 2013. Now, let me show you the hotspot for India. So, while overall prevalence could be 0.9% to 1.5%, but there are areas in the east, 7.9%. There are several areas with 9%, Punjab, where CDC has launched about 5%, and several spots in Kashmir is 23% or so. This is the way people have now decided to go to the regions. The clinicians suspect, and they would go and set up camps there. The same is true for Mongolia, where you can see several regions are very high prevalence. Same is true for Taiwan. You can see several regions have 67% or so positivity. Similarly, in Japan, Fukuoka regions. So I want to draw this beautiful concept of the chessboard, the Moran's index. If you have a Moran's index of less than 0 or more than 0, it means all the blacks are on one side, all the whites are on one side, it is okay. So if you have a Moran index 0, it means there is an equal distribution, 5% is 5%. But if it is disturbed, you will see that there is a clustering. And that's what China, the Information System for Disease Control and Prevention, has done. How beautifully they have gone and seen, oh, Moran index is 0.2. So these are the regions China every year screens and finds out. And that, I think, is a very important strategy to find the hotspot and try to neutralize the hotspot there. The second part is the undiagnosed and untreated HCV. So less than 15%, for B they are aware, but for C, the awareness part, and this is data pooled from Hong Kong, Japan, Singapore, Korea, and Taiwan. In Taiwan, this data has been provided by Dr. Chuang last year, and it shows you the numbers are very clear of anti-HCV prevalence. But the awareness is also very good in that country. 36% are aware, which is not true for other countries, like, at least I would say, for countries like South Korea and India and maybe China. The other challenge and burden is the diagnostic costs, and I want to put it in real time. Quantitative RNA in India costs about $30 and you need 3 times, which is about $100 for 3 tests, which is equivalent to 1 month of DAA treatment in India. For hepatitis B DNA, it is $30, and if you are doing 2 tests a year, this would be for 10 years, mean $600, which is equivalent to 4 years of nucleoside treatment. It costs about $150 per year, which is cheapest in the world, but it's still. And the turnaround time for Roche and Abbott is really long, so we need point-of-care tests. And this is what is current status of point-of-care tests. One of them is GeneXpert, which is around $10, and we are negotiating in India to bring it to $6 or so. Other tests are now getting into shape, and I think it is here we need a global strategy, the need for WHO help, to say that point-of-care testing is available and the cost is at least $5 or so. This is my dream. HCV treatment, the countries have done very well. These are the countries where asterisk is there, where generics are available. So you can see Bangladesh, I think Egypt, India. Sorry if I put Egypt in Asia, my apologies, but this is a role model. Pakistan, many countries have generics available and drugs are available there. Let's look at the cost. This is the data provided by our past president of Apostle, Yokosuka. The cost for Redipasvir SOFO is about $50,000. Average annual salary of a Japanese is $34,000, so it might be more. So Japan is expensive. I have some data from Korea, and Dr. Han can correct me. This is provided that the cost is about $2,000+ of the combination therapy, but I think it's still quite expensive. Asia has a problem of affordability and access to treatment, and those regions, for example, where you have healthcare can be affordable, the prevalence is probably not that high, but regions which are not afford-worthy, like Bangladesh, India, and Pakistan, the prevalence is high. So we have to make this regional balance settle, and for that, India has done, I must say, appreciably well. I'll give you the cost. There are 17 companies which are selling. One of them is Hetero, another is Netco. The listed price is $177, but in our center, ILBS, any combination of drugs is available for $300 for 3 months, whether you use SOFO, Ledipasvir, or Declatasol. And we hope that it will come down by another 1/3 by end of the year. So anyone who is interested can actually share this and take the drugs from the country available. Now, what we have done in the country, there is a huge area. I showed you Punjab, where there is 5.2%. The government has sanctioned $150 million to cover it possibly in 2 years. Every patient would be treated. Delhi, where I work, possibly we'll get free antivirals this year. We are trying that the pharma brings the price to $2 for SOFO, and therefore the drug can be available across the country. This is just a drug graph provided from Cipla by my friend Prashant Mohanty, and this is 42,000 patients treated after the launch. This does not include Declatasavir or Ledipasvir combinations. And if you see this is peanuts. We have to treat 10 million in India, and this is actually 0.0042%. And how do we scale it up? ILBS was designated as a CC on viral hep and liver diseases. So what we thought, we will do an APEX training programs and do cohort studies and operational delivery models. So every year we do a national consultative meet. This is the second consultative meet, and please share with me our enthusiasm. Can we treat all hepatitis C by 2020? This is ambitious. Very ambitious, but these were thoughts, and I'll show you how we plan. And overall eradication in India by 2080 of both B and C. So if we have everyone universally immunized, maybe the 65 years being the lifespan, we can achieve it. So what the CC is doing is having a prospective cohort of B and C. So we have for B about 2,300 retrospective and 975 prospective. We develop training modules. One is called a HIP, Hepatitis Induction Program, and one is an Hepatitis Update Program, and also operational delivery models and national policies. Big issue and debate is who will treat Hep C burden. So if I'm giving you some very simple data, 10 million people have to be treated, let's say by 2020, so I need to treat 2 million. Impossible. I need 5,500 patients to be treated per day and 10,000 doctors treating 180 patients, or 20,000 doctors treating 90 patients per year. We have only 2,500 GI specialists, so we need to have GPs, primary care doctors to be involved. We started an ECO program in 2012. 48 interactive sessions have been done. Now we have gone to medical colleges across country where there are no GI specialists. And we have a program of every fortnight for physicians and every fortnight for medical colleges to upscale people who can treat hepatitis C. Of course, we have huge problems of high infection and disease burden in Asia. There is no consensus on a regional, Asia as a regional policy. Every country has a different, and I hope the CRO and the WHO, we can make a regional policy and regional programs, basic minimum which every country can do. There is political commitment. I'm very sure of it now. We have undetected Hep B and C and new infections coming. We have very poor surveillance. For example, India doesn't have a surveillance program. Cost of diagnostics have to come down and access has to be improved. I'll show you an example of how we run our campaigns. For last 18 years, we are doing a Hepatitis Awareness Day, 1998, whole state of Delhi, all the schools go it. We do 4 hepatitis-free screening camps, and we have National AIDS Control Organization, which we want to rename as National AIDS and Hepatitis Control Organization to piggyback in a way on HIV programs. And we have developed a HBSCE program, Hepatitis B Screening, Counseling and Education Program. This is, everyone does it, but I'm just putting the perspective. We took first-degree relatives and spouses, 975 index patients in last 1 year. We enrolled 2,000 of the 4,000 family members. And 44% were hepatitis B positive. In this way, we were able to detect new cases, and many of them were exposed. But what was most important, all these 975 became our ambassadors to go across all families. They all volunteered to become partners in awareness on hepatitis B. Hepatitis B is mother-baby mainly in India, and therefore this helped us and also improved vaccination rates for those who are at high risk. In my last 2 slides, I want to share the new guidelines in hepatitis B from Asia. But the most important part of this is that do not discriminate, marginalize, stigmatize subjects infected with hepatitis B and C. You represent the world here, and I would like Charles Gore and others to endorse this, that we all, if you agree, press for this in this 2016 World Health Assembly, that person who is living has hepatitis B does not get visa, does not get a job, he is discriminated in many parts of the world. And I think they should have equal rights, they should have. So if you all agree, may please raise hands. Well, I see 100%, and I therefore would like Charles and WHO to please get it through this year. This will be the biggest. And of course, the time is ripe for us to join and eliminate, the word eliminate, hepatitis. But there is a tide in the affairs of men which, taken at the flood, leads on to fortune On such a full sea are we now afloat. We must take the current when it serves, and of course, if we can do it before 2030, eliminate hepatitis C and contain hepatitis B. Thank you.
Thank you.